These are problems 11 through 20 on the SAT practice test number 2 in the calculator portion, corresponding to assignment 13 in test prep. So problem 11 is the distance formula. So you're going to have to know the distance formula. And however you want to treat this, this is it, and it deals with 2 coordinates. So I did 1 minus -2, that's 3, and I did 7 minus 3, that's 4, and you square those, that's 25, and then square root of 25 is 5. Okay, questions 12 and 13. This is kind of statistics made hard. You're going to have to figure these numbers at the top of these bars to start with. And then the first question is pretty easy, about what % of students in Class A speak more than 2 languages. So here we are with 3 languages. So 4 of them out of the total of 17 plus 4, 21. So 4 over 21. Then the next thing you need to analyze for the next question is, what are the medians? So you need to get to the halfway points. So this bar means there are 11 ones. This bar means there are 6 2s written down. This bar means there are 4 3s. So if I wrote all those numbers down, what's the middle point? 11th place, because there's 19, is the middle position. So in 11th place is still 1. It's the end of the ones. Same thing here. You have 19. So 10th place is the middle position with a 9 on each side. Up here, it was 21. So 11th place with a 10 on each side is the middle position. So 10th place is halfway. So 10 numbers into this, I'm at my second 2 if I were writing them all down. So you'd have 8 1s written down, and then you'd have 2 of the 6 2s written down. So on that second 2, you're at the middle position. So the median data element is 2. You need to know that for the next question. So which one of these, and this is hard because you have to analyze all of that. So Class A has a smaller median. There, that's enough. It has a smaller median, and then A and B have the same mode. So the mode is the number, the most repeated. So the most repeated one is 1 in both. 1 is repeated 11 times, 1 is repeated 8 times. So A on that. So 14, which of the following is not a factor of this? So you're welcome to look up the x-intercepts now that you have your calculator. And your x-intercepts are -3 and 2. So your factors would be x plus 3 and x minus 2 with a common factor 2. So x minus 3 is not a factor. Problem 15. This is a nice challenge, dealing with % increase, % decrease, and then finding the difference. So we have some number that we took 120% increase on to get to $36,000. What was that number? Okay, so remember the multiplication factors with % increase and decrease just adjust from 1. So 100, and, if you're increasing 20%, you add 0.2 to 1. So the multiplying factor is 1.2, but you're multiplying that by whatever that original cost was to get 36,000. So that 30,000 is that value when you divide. Now we want to do a 5% decrease on $36,000. So actually you're multiplying by 0.95 because you adjust that from 1, and you end up with $34,200. Okay, so because the dealer decreased the price by 5%. What's the difference between those two? That's a really challenging problem with % increases and decreases, but this does test. You need to learn what I call the multiplying factor way with % increase and decrease. So if I'm at a restaurant and I want to give a 20% tip onto my final bill, I'm going to multiply that number by 1.2. Okay, so learning because it's an increase, how to use multiplying factors to do that. Okay, what is the value of x? Here we go with having to eliminate denominators. And so I chose to multiply by 15 on each side. So what it does here is this makes this 5, and then we have 5 times 4 in front. And over here it makes this 3. So then we have a 3 in front, but you got to kind of distribute it. It makes this very tricky. And I actually forgot to say you need to distribute the 5 up here too. So the 15 over 3 is 5, but you got to multiply the 4 by 5 and the 1 by 5. 15 over 5 here is 3, but you got to multiply the 8 by 3 and then this inside this set of parentheses by 3. It's challenging. Linear equations, but challenging. And so you do what you think. You multiply 20 through, multiply -3 through up here. And so I kind of did the 24 minus 15 is 9 plus 3x. And then adjust your terms, subtract 3x, subtract 15, and then divide by 17 on each side. That's a challenging problem off a simple topic, but that's the SAT. Problem 17, pretty simple. How many red, yellow, and blue were sold? So you have to add the red, the yellow, and the blue together, percentages. That's 60% of the total of 1,800. So straight percent calculation on that. Problem 18, which is not equivalent to 3 times the square root of 32. So you're going to basically use your calculator to do this. There's 3 times the square root of 32. And then when you hit 4 times the square root of 12, you'll see that they indeed are not the same. Problem 19. So you're comparing these two different things. So after 5 years, Macy will have $150 because she's just putting $10 in each year. But Sam has an increase of 10% every year. So when you calculate his, you have to take that percent increase, so 1 plus 0.1, and raise it to the 5th power because he's doing it 5 times in a row. And then you subtract those two to get 1105. Okay, so Sam would have 1105 more. Challenging problem with simple things. So here you got to figure out f of 2 for every single one. And then you got to figure out f of -2. So you're substituting in, coming up with all of these, and then which one is this column on the right greater than the column on the left? And it's these two right here. And that is problems 11 through 20 on SAT practice test number 2.